You just poured a bottle of fuel injector cleaner into your GMC Duramax diesel tank because you want to improve performance, reduce emissions, or fix a rough idle. But here is what the product label will never tell you. You might have just introduced chemicals into your fuel system that will damage your injectors, wreck your high-pressure fuel pump, and leave you with a repair bill that could hit $8,000 or more. I have been working on diesels for over 20 years, and I cannot tell you how many times I have seen Duramax owners make this exact mistake. Here is the thing most people do not understand. GMC Duramax diesel engines use ultra-high pressure fuel injection systems. We are talking 25,000 to 30,000 psi. That is not like your buddy's gas truck. These systems need precise lubricity, specific chemistry, and careful balance. Pour in the wrong additive and you are stripping protective films, eating away at seals, corroding injector components, and setting yourself up for catastrophic fuel pump failure. Today, I am going to show you 8 fuel injector cleaners that are damaging GMC Duramax engines right now. Some of these are well-known brands that people trust. Others are cheap bottles you grab without thinking twice. And if you stick around until number 1, I am going to show you the most dangerous category, the one I see causing the most damage in my shop. Let's get into it. Number 8. Old snake oil additives, kerosene mixes. These outdated fuel additives are still sitting on shelves at truck stops and auto parts stores, and they are using formulas from when your grandfather was driving. I had a customer bring in his 2015 Sierra with a failed CP4 pump last year, and when I asked what he had been putting in his tank, he showed me one of these old kerosene-based additives his dad swore by. The problem is, what worked on a 1985 diesel will likely wreck a modern Duramax. Here is why. These products typically contain kerosene, mineral spirits, or similar stuff that thins your diesel fuel. Now, diesel fuel has natural lubricating compounds that protect your pump and injectors from wear at those insane pressures. When you add kerosene or mineral spirits, you are stripping away those protective films. It is like running your engine on dry metal-to-metal contact. I have pulled apart CP4 fuel pumps that failed from this exact problem. The internal components are scored and worn down because the fuel lost its lubricity. A CP4 pump replacement will run you $3,000 to $5,000 when you factor in labor and all the related parts that need replacing. And here is the kicker. The CP4 design is already sensitive to lubricity. It needs better fuel protection than the older CP3 pumps. When you reduce that protection with these old additives, the pump can fail in 10,000 to 30,000 miles. The injectors suffer the same fate. Duramax injectors have tolerances so tight you measure them in microns. Without proper lubrication, the injector needles and seats wear down, and your spray pattern goes to hell. Injector replacement costs $400 to $800 each, and you have got 8 of them. Do the math. That is $3,200 to $6,400 plus labor for all 8. These snake oil formulas might have been okay for old mechanical injection systems from the 80s and 90s that ran at 3,000 to 5,000 psi. But modern common rail systems, 5 to 10 times that pressure. You need real lubricity, not watered-down diesel. But if you think outdated additives are sketchy, wait until you see number 7. Number 7. Unverified off-brand imports. I see guys come in all the time with bottles they bought online for half the price of name brands. No testing, no certification. Half the time the ingredient list looks like it was translated through 3 different languages. These are complete wild cards, and I have seen them cause serious damage. The problem is simple. You have no idea what is actually in the bottle. Reputable manufacturers test their products extensively to make sure they do not harm your fuel system. They check compatibility with seals, metal corrosion, spray patterns, the whole deal. These cheap imports, they skip all of that. I had a Duramax come into my shop with the entire fuel system contaminated. The owner had used some import additive he found for $6 a bottle. Whatever was in there reacted with his diesel and created a sludge that clogged everything. Fuel filter, injectors, the works. Some of these products contain solvents that attack the rubber seals and O-rings throughout your fuel system. Next thing you know, you have got fuel leaks everywhere. The worst cases I have seen involve CP4 pump failures, where the pump literally disintegrated and sent metal shavings through the entire fuel system. When that happens, you are replacing the pump, all 8 injectors, fuel lines, sometimes even the tank. I have seen bills over $10,000 for this. You cannot trust the labels on these things because fuel additive labeling regulations are minimal. If it is cheaper than a large coffee and you have never heard of the brand, you are rolling the dice with a $10,000 fuel system. Saving $10 is not worth that risk, and the next category gets sold by legitimate stores, but it still causes problems. Number 6. Solvent-heavy cleaners, non-detergent. Some fuel system cleaners rely heavily on harsh solvents instead of balanced detergent packages. I see the appeal. Solvents strip deposits aggressively, but here is what they do not tell you. They also strip the protective lubricating films, and they do not actually prevent deposits from coming back. Think of it this way. Good cleaners use detergents that lift deposits and hold them so they can burn off in the engine or get caught in your fuel filter. Solvents just dissolve everything without controlling where it goes. That means deposits can end up downstream clogging your injector orifices, or they redeposit somewhere else in the system. In a Duramax, these solvent-heavy cleaners strip the protective films from your injector needles, seats, and pump components. Now you have got bare metal exposed to 25,000 psi injection pressures. I have seen the wear patterns this creates. The injector spray pattern degrades as the holes enlarge from erosion. Poor spray pattern means bad combustion, less power, more emissions, the whole downward spiral. And because there is no real detergent action, the deposits come back even faster. I have had customers use solvent-only cleaners and come back 5,000 miles later with worse deposits than before treatment. Without those protective detergent films, new carbon forms immediately. When I pull injectors from engines that have been treated repeatedly with these products, the wear is obvious. The needle and seat interface shows accelerated damage. These injectors can fail 50,000 to 100,000 miles earlier than they should. You want a cleaner with balanced detergents and lubricants, not just straight solvent. But if harsh solvents damage one way, number 5 attacks from a completely different angle. Number 5. Low cetane additives. Cetane in diesel is like octane in gasoline. It measures how well the fuel ignites and burns. Duramax engines are designed for cetane ratings of 40 or higher, with 45 to 50 being ideal. Now, here is something most people do not know. Some cheap additives actually lower your cetane instead of raising it. I have tested fuel from customer tanks where they added these products, and the cetane dropped 2 to 5 points. What happens is the carrier solvents or chemicals in the additive dilute your fuel's natural cetane level. When cetane drops too low, you get delayed ignition and incomplete combustion. In a Duramax, low cetane fuel creates diesel knock, that metallic rattling sound when combustion happens too late in the power stroke. I have heard it countless times. That knocking creates shock waves that beat on your pistons, connecting rods and crankshaft bearings. Run it long enough and you are looking at accelerated wear throughout the engine. Low cetane also accelerates injector fouling. When the fuel does not ignite quickly enough after injection, you get poor atomization and carbon builds up on the injector tips. Those deposits make the spray pattern even worse, and it becomes a vicious cycle. I have seen engines lose noticeable performance after owners use these low cetane additives regularly. Check the product specs before you buy. It should either maintain or boost cetane, never reduce it. If the bottle does not mention cetane at all, that is a red flag. And the next category seems convenient, but hides a nasty trap. Number 4. Universal one-size-fits-all cleaners. Products that claim to work for both gas and diesel seem convenient, especially if you have got multiple vehicles. But here is the reality from someone who has been in this industry for decades. You cannot optimize one formula for both fuel types. Gasoline and diesel are completely different animals. Gasoline systems run at 50 to 100 pounds per square inch. Diesel systems run at 25,000 to 30,000 pounds per square inch. Gasoline does not need fuel lubricity the same way diesel does. The chemistry that works great in your wife's Honda will likely wreck your Duramax. When you use a universal cleaner in a Duramax, the formula is optimized for neither gas nor diesel. It is a compromise, and in my experience, diesel engines always get the short end of that stick. These products typically give you weak cleaning compared to diesel-specific formulas, and they often lack the lubricity enhancement your fuel system desperately needs. I have had customers tell me they use the same bottle for their car and their truck because it is easier. Then they wonder why their Duramax has injector deposits and fuel system wear while their car runs fine. It is because that universal formula was designed primarily for gasoline. The Duramax owners I see who use these universal products consistently have more injector deposits and faster wear than guys using diesel-specific stuff. The small convenience of one product for everything gets erased real quick when you are facing fuel system repairs. Always go diesel-specific for your Duramax. But if you think universal formulas are sketchy, number 3 is a trusted brand used completely wrong. Number 3. Chevron Techron Gasoline Formula. Chevron Techron is one of the most trusted names in fuel system cleaners for gas engines. I recommend it all the time for gasoline. And Chevron does make an excellent diesel version called Techron D Concentrate. But here is what I see happen constantly. Duramax owners grab the regular Techron off the shelf without realizing they need the diesel-specific formula. The gasoline Techron contains PEA detergents that are fantastic for cleaning gas injectors and combustion chambers. But those same detergents are too aggressive for diesel fuel system metallurgy. I have seen what happens when that chemistry gets into a Duramax. It can corrode fuel pump components and eat away at injector internal. The real damage happens in the CP4 high-pressure pump. The PEA detergents in the gas formula react with certain alloys used in diesel fuel systems. This leads to corrosion, pump failure, and metal contamination spreading through your entire fuel system. The confusion happens because Techron has such strong brand recognition. People trust the name and the packaging looks similar. I have had customers swear they were using the right product. Then when I ask them to show me the bottle, it is the gas formula. Chevron does not make it obvious enough which one is which when you are staring at a shelf full of bottles. I have documented cases where engines developed injector problems and fuel pump issues within 10,000 to 20,000 miles of using gas Techron regularly. The corrosion patterns are distinctive. I can usually tell what caused it. Always verify you are buying Chevron Techron D Concentrate for diesel. The gas formula can cause thousands in damage to your Duramax, and the next type attacks through a completely different mechanism. Number 2. Alcohol-based cleaners, methanol/ethanol heavy. Additives with high concentrations of methanol or ethanol will wreck a diesel fuel system faster than just about anything. I have seen the damage firsthand more times than I can count. Alcohols are decent solvents for certain deposits, which is why they show up in gas additives. But in a diesel, they attack seals, strip lubricity, and cause injector scoring that leads to total failure. The seal damage shows up first. Diesel fuel systems use specific rubber compounds for seals and O-rings throughout the fuel delivery path. I have pulled these seals out after alcohol exposure. They swell up, crack, and deteriorate. When seals fail, you get fuel leaks all over the place. Alcohol also strips the natural lubricating compounds right out of diesel fuel. Without that lubricity, you have got metal-on-metal contact at 25,000 plus PSI. The CP4 pump is especially vulnerable to this. I have torn down pumps that failed from alcohol-induced wear, and the scoring inside tells the whole story. The injector damage creates a cascade of problems. When the needle and seat develop scoring from lack of lubrication, the injector starts leaking. You lose injection pressure, spray patterns go bad, fuel starts diluting your engine oil, and eventually the whole injector fails and needs replacement. Engines exposed to alcohol-heavy additives typically develop problems within 20,000 to 40,000 miles in my experience. You will see hard starting, rough idle, loss of power, black smoke, increased fuel consumption. Complete fuel system restoration, pump plus injectors, can easily hit $8,000 to $12,000. A lot of guys use these as winter anti-gel treatments without realizing the damage. Real diesel anti-gel products use wax crystal modifiers and pour point depressants, not alcohols. Check the ingredient labels and avoid anything listing methanol or ethanol as a main ingredient. But if you think alcohol damage is severe, wait until you see number 1. Number 1. Generic gasoline injector cleaners. This is the most common mistake I see, and it causes the most expensive damage. Duramax owners using generic gasoline fuel injector cleaners. These products are everywhere. Gas stations, auto parts stores, supermarkets. They have got flashy labels talking about maximum cleaning power and professional strength, and they will absolutely wreck your diesel fuel system. Here is what people do not understand. Gasoline and diesel fuel systems are night and day different. Gas injectors run at 50 to 100 PSI and do not need much lubricity because gas provides some natural lubrication and the pressure is low. Diesel injectors? We are talking 25,000 to 30,000 PSI. You absolutely need fuel lubricity or those components will destroy themselves instantly. Think about it this way. That is the difference between a garden hose and a pressure washer that can cut through concrete at those diesel pressures. If you do not have a lubricating film between the metal surfaces, you are basically sandblasting the inside of your fuel system with every injection event. I have pulled injectors apart where you can see the scoring with your naked eye because someone ran gas cleaner through the system for 3 or 4 tanks. The tolerances inside these injectors are so tight that even microscopic wear changes the spray pattern and ruins combustion efficiency. And when one injector starts failing, it throws more stress on the other 7, so the problem spreads like a disease through your whole fuel system. The CP4 pump is even worse because all 8 injectors depend on it. When that pump loses lubricity protection and starts to fail, it sends metal particles downstream that contaminate everything. I have had trucks come in where we had to replace the entire fuel system from tank to injectors because metal shavings got everywhere. The labor alone on a job like that is 15 to 20 hours, and that is if we do not run into any surprises. Most guys think fuel cleaner is fuel cleaner until they are staring at a 5-figure repair bill and wishing they had spent an extra $5 on the right product. Generic gas cleaners are formulated to strip carbon deposits from gas injectors using aggressive detergents and solvents. In a low-pressure gas system, this works great. In a high-pressure diesel system, those same chemicals strip away the essential lubricating films that keep everything from grinding itself to death. I see this probably once a month in my shop. Someone pours in a bottle of generic gas cleaner, and even 1 tank of that stuff causes measurable wear on injector needles and seats. Keep using it, and you are heading straight for catastrophic failure. The CP4 pump is the most vulnerable component, and it is already marginal for lubricity sensitivity. The CP4 design needs higher fuel lubricity than the older CP3 pumps. When you reduce that lubricity with gas additives, the pump can grenade in 10,000 to 30,000 miles. I have seen CP4 failures where the pump disintegrated and sent metal debris through the entire fuel system. When that happens, you are replacing everything. Pump, all 8 injectors, fuel lines, sometimes the tank gets contaminated. I have written estimates over $15,000 for this damage. The worst part is how easy it is to make this mistake. These gas cleaners are prominently displayed with marketing that emphasizes power and cleaning. The packaging might say "for gasoline engines" in small print, but it is easy to miss when you are in a hurry. I have had customers swear they read the label, but they were looking at the front where it says "maximum cleaning" in huge letters, not the back where it says "gasoline" in fine print. Duramax CP4 pump failures from lubricity loss have gotten more common as these products become more popular. When I tear down a failed pump, the wear pattern is obvious. Excessive scoring on the pump rollers and cam rings, metal contamination everywhere. The only way to prevent this is using diesel-specific additives that are formulated with proper lubricity. This is the #1 most destructive category because it happens constantly, causes the most expensive failures, and it is completely preventable by just reading labels and choosing diesel-specific products. Generic gas injector cleaners have zero business in a Duramax fuel tank, period. What you should use instead. Now that you know what to avoid, let me tell you what actually works. In my 20+ years working on Duramax engines, I have seen which products hold up and which ones deliver on their promises. For diesel-specific cleaning and lubricity, I have had great results with Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme. It provides solid cleaning and enhances lubricity without the harsh chemicals. Lucas Oil Diesel. Deep Clean is another one I trust. Good detergent action, plays nice with seals and components. Power Service Diesel Clean Plus Cetane Boost does exactly what the name says. Cleans your system and improves cetane. Stanodyne Performance Formula is another solid choice for lubricity and cleaning. For winter anti-gel protection, stick with diesel-specific products like Power Service Diesel Fuel Supplement Plus Cetane Boost or Stanodyne Winter Formula. These use proper wax crystal modifiers and pour point depressants, not alcohols that will damage your system. I tell customers to treat their fuel at every fill-up, or at minimum every 3rd fill-up for continuous protection. Yeah, it costs you $10 to $20 per tank depending on the product and your tank size. But compare that to $5,000 to $15,000 in fuel system repairs down the road. Always verify the product is specifically made for diesel and ideally tested on high-pressure common rail systems like your Duramax. Look for lubricity enhancement claims, detergent specs, cetane boost data. Stay away from anything listing alcohols, kerosene, or mineral spirits as main ingredients. When in doubt, ask your diesel mechanic or check with the GMC dealer for recommendations. The 8 fuel injector cleaners I just covered are damaging Duramax engines every single day. Generic gas cleaners, alcohol-based products, gas formula Techron, universal cleaners, low cetane junk, harsh solvents, sketchy imports, and old kerosene snake oils. All of them can cause damage ranging from accelerated wear to complete fuel system failure. I have seen the repair bills. I have written plenty of them myself. We are talking $4,000 to $15,000, depending on how bad the damage gets. And here is the thing, it is all preventable. Use diesel-specific additives from manufacturers who actually test their products on modern common rail fuel systems. Your Duramax fuel system is precision engineered. It runs at crazy pressures that demand careful chemical balance. Protect it with the right products, avoid anything made for gas, and never trust a 2-in-1 universal product or some no-name import. That $15 you save on the wrong bottle can easily cost you $10,000 when your fuel system fails. Choose wisely. Stick with proven diesel-specific products, and your Duramax will reward you with hundreds of thousands of trouble-free miles.